How's it going, guys? Michael McCreary with Keller Williams Real Estate, driven to perform. This is my first interview with an automotive enthusiast. I'm going to try and make it a series if we can get it going. Obviously, we are not ready, so this is very raw. So subscribe and we'll get everything worked out. Got my friend Paul here to be my my guinea pig for the first interview. So let's see what we got here. See what Paul, kind of insights Paul can give us.
Sure.
Okay, Paul. When did you know you were an automotive enthusiast?
I can't tell you an exact time. I know that I was raised with 3 older sisters and no brothers, and I think that from the day that
We're not ready.
You want to start over?
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay. There's no specific day where I could pinpoint, when I became an automotive enthusiast.
Has it always been there?
Yeah. I born with, 3 older sisters and no brothers. I think my daddy saw fit to, shove Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars in my hand, right from the beginning. My mother and my aunt actually made a custom seat cover for my stroller when I was young, so I could shove all my Matchboxes in there, while they were out shopping, to keep me occupied. But other than that, my first idea that my first realization that I was really going to be into cars, I was young. My oldest sister's 11 years older than me, and her second car was Toyota. But the thing that stood out to me was that it had aftermarket wheels, and I remember saying over and over again to my dad, it's got mag wheels on it. That's so cool. It's got mag wheels. And I don't know if they were truly magnesium wheels or not, but
right.
In my young mind, any custom wheel at that time was a mag wheel. So
right.
That was cool. And like I said, I was young. If she was 17, then I would have been 6. So at 6 years old, I was pointing out aftermarket wheels on a car.
And did your dad kind of influence you, or was it more just he just saw it in you? And
I think he just saw it in me. I don't ever recall.
Was he a car guy?
Well, he was a car guy out of necessity. He didn't own a hot rod. While I knew him, while I was growing up, he didn't ever own a hot rod. He was all about the family. But he was always working on cars, trying to keep them on the road. My sisters each had, old Toyotas, or the 2 younger sisters had a Cutlass. And I remember Pop working on that. I remember Pop changing the transmission on my grandfather's Ford Torino wagon. So, he was a car dude in the fact that, he had to keep them on the road,
right,
out of necessity. But he did have some cool cars in his day. Everybody's got that one car that gets away. And my father's car that got away was a 58 Impala convertible. And he got that when in between tours in Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
And when he came back from Vietnam the second time, he had orders to go back east to Virginia from Pendleton.
Mm-hmm.
And, he had my mom and 3 young daughters, and a 58 Impala wasn't going to cut it, so they had to get rid of it. And I don't know what he got. I'm sure he got some kind of, station wagon to travel cross country. But
I think as an automotive enthusiast, we can all appreciate having to work on cars out of necessity.
Yes.
Because I know for myself, I'd rather push the car that I really love versus being completely not worrying about a car that I wouldn't want to drive.
Sure.
Wouldn't like the looks of it. I'd rather work on it and have to deal with the issues than
and that's part of being a car dude, is the desire to make a car yours. Mm-hmm. True car guys, you look at cars on the road now, and they're all the same body lines, they're all the same, and a car dude is going to do something to that car to make it stand out.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's aftermarket wheels or tinting the windows. Mm-hmm. I often make the joke that I can't leave anything alone.
Right.
Even my wife's daily driver, I got to do something to it.
Right.
I can't leave it bone stock. But that's that's the bug that we got.
Right. I'm just reading out these questions that I've come up with, so bear with me. So right now, I mean, I know that it changes all the time, at least that's for me, but what is your favorite car?
That's
maybe not even right now, but I mean just all time. If money was no object, you could have any car you want, and you wouldn't have to worry about fixing it.
Yeah.
Just pure. That's the car for me.
It's funny you ask that because, I have 2 boys, and I've been into cars, my entire adult life, whether I could afford to own one, an extra car or not.
Right.
I always taking the boys to car shows in the evening or whatever, and my boys always known that I was a car dude, and they've asked me that same question. Dad, if you could have any car, what would it be? And it's hard to say. Like you said, it changes day to day. If money was no object, I think that I would like to have that 58 convertible Impala.
Yeah.
And leave it in my dad's driveway for him.
That'd be great.
I have big aspirations of being able to do that until you look at what a basket case 58 Impala costs, and then you realize that it's my entire retirement account would cover the build.
Right. But hey, that's your dad.
Exactly. Exactly.
How about your least favorite car?
Least favorite car would be any car that I own that is broken down. I can't tell you how many times you jump in the hot rod and you're going to a cruise night, or you're going to Bible study, or you're going somewhere in it and it just ain't running right, or something breaks on it, and then you're done. That's when you're hating hot rods.
Right.
However, in the many times I've been in the cab of a flatbed truck with my pride and joy on the bed in the back. You do still get waves, you do still get thumbs up,
right?
And, people still appreciate your beast back there,
right.
even though you're hating it at the moment. But I would say that my least favorite car would be any one of mine that's not running.
So quickly, once you fix it, then it's no longer your.
Yeah, then it's no longer. And then if you had to ask me, what is my least favorite car that's always running? It's gonna have to be one of these hippie cars, these electric cars, or except the Tesla. Tesla, they've got a Tesla with that insane mode switch.
Right.
And I've yet to ride in one, but I've seen the videos of these guys driving this thing in insane mode, and you gotta appreciate any car that has an insane mode switch. That's cool.
I think that insane mode lasts. If you left it in insane mode, you'd probably be stuck on the side of the road, like you were saying, in about half an hour.
Yep, and then it would be my least favorite car. Yep.
What really excites you about automobiles?
Making it your own. I touched on it a minute ago, and even if you buy, or you acquire a car that is running and driving, making it your own and making it stand out as a custom car. That's got to be my favorite. Taking a before and after picture and looking at them and go, yeah, that's right.
So why did you buy this Prius?
I can't believe you're asking me that with a serious face. I've never owned a Prius, nor will I ever own a Prius.
Is there anything you don't like about cars besides maintenance and
and breaking down? There's really not a whole lot to not like about cars. It's what made America, as great as we are. We had we have the automotive industry, whether it's the manufacturing and building of cars here in the United States, or the aftermarket. I mean, you look at the aftermarket, as we lead the world in aftermarket parts and making stuff cool.
Right.
And aside from that, you look at countries in Europe, trying to acquire our iron,
Mm-hmm.
our cars from the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to keep them on the road.
Mm-hmm.
That really says something about, American style and American classic cars.
I mean, cars from the 50s and 60s, they change every year.
Yeah.
People would know it, a 58 Cadillac or,
Yep.
with those huge fins and, I'd love for somebody to go, you know what, let's just do it.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if we lose money, let's just do it again.
Absolutely.
I mean, they won't.
Yeah.
It would be great if somebody...
It sure enough would. And, I don't know how all the viewers feel about this current administration, but the one thing that kind of excites me about this is, while I think it's a mistake opening trade and negotiations with Cuba, there's an untapped market there.
Oh, yeah.
And, they stopped importing cars in 1957 or 1958, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been driving those cars ever since.
Right.
So, they're going to be itching for Honda Civics.
Right.
And, Toyota Corollas. I would sure love to go down there with a fistful of Corollas and trade them all for 58 Impalas. That'd be sweet.
And we had talked about finding that about 6 months ago. Somebody had found a 300 SL Gullwing,
Yes.
underneath a banana tree, rusting away.
$1 million car.
Yeah, sitting, rusting away.
That's my least favorite car. That's my
That's
least.
your favorite car. Yeah.
That's my least
Yeah.
favorite car because it's.
Yeah, that would be painful to.
Yes.
Can I have this headlight? Can
Yeah.
I have this wheel? I can retire on,
Yeah.
either one of these things.
That's a shame because yeah.
As a car person, what's your favorite car noise?
My favorite car noise undoubtedly is an open exhaust with a lumpy cam. So when I can hear a car, just barely able to hold an idle, with that that is the best sound in my opinion in a hot rod.
Touching on what we talked about before, I bet you your least favorite sound is that noise when
Spun bearing.
it's about to stop. Right?
Spun bearing is, and I can tell you, I had a 55 Ford that I bought specifically for the Y-block engine in it because I like the way Y-block sound, the exhaust. And I specifically wanted a Y-block. So I put a ton of dough into this thing trying to keep this Y-block together. And I had it together for about 6 months. And, Y-blocks from the factory didn't make tons of power. And I've got a bit of a fat right foot. So,
Don't we all?
yeah. And I couldn't keep my foot out of that car. And 6 months into having it, I spun the bearing in that, the Y-block. And it really bummed me out because that is a sickening sound. And I knew then, this is a complete engine rebuild or yanking it out and putting another motor in. So while most guys would have, babied it to try to save the motor, I knew I was going to yank it out and, put a small block Ford in it. So I kept my foot in it all the way home like a true hot rodder. You're going to give up on me, you're going to give up on me big.
Right.
So
Did you get home?
I did make it home.
Oh, that's good.
Like a true Ford, like a good Ford. Made it home.
Now, if I know that you don't have an automotive occupation.
No, I don't.
If you could have any automotive occupation, what would you like to do?
It's a good question. Because with any occupation comes a problem that no longer is it a hobby or no longer is it fun. It becomes a job.
Right.
If that were taken out of the equation where I would not lose the fun in it, I would like to be able to do, full restorations or full custom builds from the ground up. So that way I could look at it, in its infancy stage, in the beginning stage, and then look at it when it was done.
Right.
And sit back and go, wow, God's blessed me with the skills that I was able to resurrect that car from that pile of bolts to a running, driving, hot rod.
Right.
That's sweet. But, that's not my skill set. That's not what God blessed me with. God blessed me with the ability to be a hack and keep a hot rod on the road. But when I get in over my head, I still got to call dudes to come bail me out.
Do you think when you retire that might be something you'd want to get into just as a hobby?
Absolutely.
Just build a hot rod in your garage or...
Oh, I'll definitely build something in my garage on the side. You know, when I retire, I'm gonna have to do something. You know, being a civil servant, my retirement's not gonna be, you know, sitting back and eating wine or drinking wine and eating cheese.
You're not gonna restore that 300 SL
No,
Gullwing?
no. I wish I could, but like you said, I wouldn't be able to afford the, the hydraulics for the Gullwing door, let alone, the motor in that thing.
Right.
I'll do something. Whether, I got big aspirations. I'd like to own a tire shop. Nothing where I have to, have certified technicians. Just somebody who can mount and balance tires.
Right.
Basically, I just want a place where I can go and hang out.
Right.
And drive the hot rod to work and.
Have all the automotive guys come to you.
Yeah.
Right.
And sit around and bench race and shoot the Shinola and talk about how everything's better than a Mopar and. Sorry, guys.
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be Mopar guys that are saying the exact opposite.
I know it. I know
That's
it.
fine. When you get to heaven, if you have the ability to do anything automotive, what are you going to do? You could just do whatever you want.
Yeah. I'm almost certain. Now, I'm no theologian. I'm just a knuckle dragger. Saved knuckle dragger, thank goodness. But in my study of the Bible, I found in Daniel 7, it describes God as, I've got it marked right here. I'll wait till this ambulance goes by. In Daniel 7, verse 9 in part, it says, his garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was a fiery flame, its wheels a burning fire. So that tells me that God himself has a hot rod. And you're asking me what I want to do car related in heaven. First thing is, after we praise God for our salvation and bringing us to him, I'm going to be chomping at the bit to see God's hot rod, and hoping God's going to do that fiery burnout for me, because that's going to be cool. And of all the cool cars I've seen here on Earth, built by the best builders there are out there, nobody's going to be able to touch the hot rod that God's built.
It's going to be pretty awesome.
It's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet, and I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come Lord quickly, please.
Well, Paul, I think that's all the questions I have. Anything you want to?
I just thank you, Mike, for asking me to participate in this.
Yeah.
And you guys, if you're going to make comments and leave comments on the video, go easy on me, please. Drive a Chevy, but I own a Chevy, but I have owned Fords. So everything is cool as long as you don't own a Mopar.
I think every automotive enthusiast can appreciate other cars.
Absolutely.
And I can't imagine somebody.
Absolutely.
Some people just get a little crazy.
Yep.
Those no, you see somebody broken down the road, you stop and you help them.
You're going to help them.
I mean,
absolutely.
That's what you're for.
And that's the beauty of the car world is I may not be into lowriders, but I can certainly appreciate the craftsmanship and time and effort that went into a lowrider. I may not be a muscle car guy, but I sure like the big nasty scratches that a muscle car can put down.
Well, Paul, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And,
thank you.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. Subscribe. We'll keep doing this. Get a little more sophisticated as we go along, or not. Leave your comments if you want it to be just kind of a raw thing. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.